Welcome to Mission Imperfect, the podcast about navigating the twists and turns of life and embracing the imperfections of the journey.
We're your hosts, life coaches Catherine and Kirsty, and our mission is to support you in finding your own path, your own way, with greater clarity and self trust, no matter how messy or uncertain things may seem.
We address the roadblocks that come up time and time again for our coaching clients, from acceptance and boundaries to values and well-being and everything in between.
As well as asking lots of questions, a coach's favourite thing to do, we'll be sharing thoughts and insights and offering plenty of tips, tools, and techniques for you to try.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to grab a cuppa and a biscuit and join us in getting lost in finding ourselves.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Mission Imperfect. As promised, we are following on from last week's episode where we spoke about never giving up and how that can be encouraging, perhaps in some contexts, but it's a bit toxic in others, especially if we end up feeling trapped and miserable. So this week, we're back with some thoughts about knowing when to give up, if that might actually be the best outcome for you.
Indeed. And I think the really important thing to say up front is only you can know if or when it's right for you to give up on something. We can't tell you. We are offering some suggestions that might help you to decide whether to give up or perhaps help you admit or act on what you already know you want. Because sometimes we bury that knowledge under the weight of all the shoulds that we should never give up. So because we're coaches, it's all about the questions. Lots and lots of questions this week. So the first tip we've called compare, contrast, get curious. And this involves making two lists. I know that will make some people very happy. There are definite list makers and non-list makers in the world, aren't there? So if you like any excuse for a notebook, here is one. Get a notebook, make a couple of lists. What makes me want to give up is one list, and the other is what makes me want to not give up. Doesn't matter which order you do them in, but do notice if you are more strongly called to one than the other to do first. So when you've done that, read through both lists and get curious about them. How do you feel about the reasons you've listed? Which reasons land hardest and which might feel a little bit silly? Which ones are about you and which ones are about what other people might think or want? Which list feels most true or convincing? And which reasons feel most in line with your core values?
I think
Now,
that's an excellent idea. I really do, because I think if you can be brutally honest as well with this, maybe you don't have to show it to anyone, it's just for
Mhm.
you. But I think the thing that really will stand out, hopefully, is ones that you recognize are not really about you. They might be about expectations of other people or feeling how it might look, how it presents to other people. But remember,
Yeah.
the person that this is impacting is you, and that's what needs to carry the weight. So I think if you can be really honest and ask all those really excellent questions there, you will get a sense of actually, I don't want to give this up because it matters to me, for example, or I thought I really wanted this, but the way it's panning out, it's just not working for me. I don't want this anymore. I want something else. And it can be something similar,
Yeah.
but it should be hopefully quite insightful.
I mean, sometimes what you're doing is only one route into what it is you actually want. And changing direction doesn't have to be giving up on what
Yeah,
it is you want at
exactly.
the end of it. I mean, I used this approach years ago. I was faced with a redundancy situation and had the opportunity of applying for the combined role that was replacing the jobs of myself and a colleague. And I was very conflicted about whether to do that or not. I had a very well paid job, making good money. That brought a lot of advantages with it, but I'd also not been that happy for quite some time. So I had a whole load of shits going on, and to walk away from that kind of job in that kind of environment felt like giving up. So I started making a list like this. And one of the reasons that popped up straight away on why I wanted to give up was wishing my life away. And as soon as that was on the page, I knew what I was going to do. It completely tipped the balance. I'd known I was doing it, but letting it out of my head like that and consciously facing a potential future of more of the same was a powerful realization.
Yeah. Gosh, I can imagine. I mean, they say a thought in your head, if it's out and on paper and you actually see it and look at it, and how many times we as coaches, someone says what they're thinking, they said just saying it out loud either sounds ridiculous or, oh, I can't believe I feel that way, or it's
Yeah.
just enlightening, isn't it? When it goes from just being something that you're vaguely conscious of to either out of your mouth or onto a piece of paper. It makes it very real. Like you kind of have to look at it and acknowledge it and realize what it might mean.
Absolutely. It somehow seems more real, more significant, doesn't it, when it's out
Yeah.
on its own in the world as opposed to trapped in a little dark corner of your head. So yeah, that's our first tip, your compare, contrast, and get curious lists. Next are some old friends, if you've been following us for any amount of time, which is the quadratic questions. And yeah, there always comes a mind-blowing point in these, but they go like this. What happens if I give up? What happens if I don't give up? What doesn't happen if I give up? What doesn't happen if I don't give up? I think for most of us, that last one is the one where the brain just goes, I'm sorry, what? And gives
Yes.
up.
Yes.
Apparently, that state of confusion is a good state for learning because it scrambled our preconceived notions and ideas and left us flailing a bit, which means we're more receptive to new information. There you go.
Oh, well, that's interesting because that fourth one, it always flummoxes me. It's the double negative, but actually, don't worry so much about the rules. It's what's going
No.
to come into your mind when you're
Yes,
trying to answer it. So you don't even have to worry about it being right or wrong. It's the fact that it came into your head as a
exactly.
possible answer. That's the telling thing. And what information is it giving you about how you truly feel about giving up or not giving up?
Yeah, it's what it's triggering in your subconscious. This is not about getting the right answers, about somebody else saying, "Oh yes, good answer." It's nothing to do with that at all. It's about gaining a better understanding of what's actually going on in your head and heart. And if this triggers something in yourself, in your subconscious, which doesn't seem like the right answer to the question, but seems like something important, and take it. That's a good outcome. I mean, the answers to these questions sometimes might be very practical, seemingly quite mundane, and sometimes they'll be far more emotional, psychological, whatever. But that there's no, as we just said, there's no right or wrong way to answer. Just answer them in the way that you need and want to, with whatever comes up for you. And when you've done that, if you're writing these down, review your answers. How do you feel about them? What clarity do they bring you? It may be that along the way something comes up where you feel you don't even need to finish it, that you've got something really important that is tipping the balance for you. If you go all the way through, look back at them and just consider what's come out. So after the quadratic questions, another tip is what would have to happen? Question mark. So when things are tough and we're struggling, it's easy to fall back on the hope that things will somehow miraculously get better any day now. And this keeps us slugging away, getting ever more miserable as the miracle fails to materialize, as it usually does. And these questions can help you break that cycle and start to get clear on what you need and want from the situation in order to stick with it, in order to want to stick with it. So ask yourself questions like, what would have to happen for me to unequivocally not want to give up? How much of that is likely to happen naturally given time? How much of it is within my control? And we did a whole episode on what's in my control, so you could refer back to
Mhm.
that if you've got a bit of confusion going on with that one. So, what can I do, and what have I already done to make this happen? How convinced am I that this can happen? How much do I want to make this happen? And the way you answer those two final questions in particular should give you good insight into whether you're ready to give up or not, and what it is you really want and need from that situation to make it feel worth sticking with.
I think there's another way of looking at this question actually. When you said
Mm.
what would have to happen, and we're hoping for something to miraculously improve, so we'll think this is okay, I'm still on the right track, this is fine. Another way of looking at it is what am I potentially waiting for to be able to say, phew, I can give up now?
Oh,
Are
yes.
we potentially waiting for there to be some decisive moment? And actually, is that wise to wait for that? Do we want there to be something that makes us feel that we've gone beyond a point of return. And
Yes,
actually, are you heading that way in any event, potentially, as things are? I was just wondering if there's a way to see it possibly heading in two different
definitely.
directions. And like you said, all those things about the likelihood, what's within your control for it to not head in that direction or not. And I think that might also be quite enlightening to think, am I potentially waiting for something to happen so I can give up with ease? And do I really want that to happen? Possibly not.
Yeah. What permission am I waiting for to give up?
Mm,
Yeah. What would make it okay for me to give up? Yes. Yeah, that's an excellent addition. So what would have to happen to make me want to not give up or to push me into giving up or allow
yeah.
me to give up? And so moving on from that, visualization, visualization. So good. We tried to say it twice, but got a little bit tied up on the second one, I think.
Mm.
So, and the reason I'm saying it twice is because I'm going to ask you to do the visual. Now I can't say the word at all. To do the visualization twice. Once for the decision to give up, and once for the decision not to give up. Doesn't matter which order, but again, notice which one you feel most strongly drawn to doing. So, very simply, when you have a few minutes of quiet time to yourself, just sit down, set a timer for at least a couple of minutes, more if you can. Close your eyes and visualize yourself having made the decision. How do you feel? Just let it all sort of settle in for you around having made whichever one of the decisions you're considering. How does it feel? What's going on for you? What's the first thing that comes to mind? And when you've done both, ask yourself which one felt better for you, whether that's lighter or happier or whatever the right word is for you. Which one felt better for you? And what's that telling you?
There's another version of this. If you find the whole visualization part tricky, is to imagine that a coin toss is going to make the decision for you. And it's sort of heads or
Mm.
tails. One side is you're going to give up. The other side is you're going to keep going. And imagine the coin is making the decision for you, and you've tossed it and it's landed. And what does your immediate gut reaction say to to that answer coming up? Is it relief?
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
panic? Is it fear? Is it what might it be? It's something you can do for a few scenarios where you've got like an A or a B type outcome or decision, a yes or a no, or whatever it might be. It's just
Oh, I
maybe
really
part of an
like
idea to,
that.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that can have its own official entry on the list. Yeah, that's a really nice way of doing it. When you get that answer from the coin, what's your first feeling? Okay, so to summarize, our tips, tools, and techniques for trying to get clear on whether you do want to give up or not. Compare, contrast, get curious. That those two lists. The quadratic questions. Try not to blow your mind. What would have to happen for you to want to not give up, or for you to allow yourself to give up? The whole visualization thing, visualizing each decision and how it feels. And finally, the coin toss. If you use a coin toss to decide what's going to happen and it comes down heads for whichever decision you linked, what's your gut feeling to that? And none of this, just to repeat, none of it is about convincing you to give up or not give up. It's about helping you achieve more clarity about what feels right or perhaps least wrong for you.
yeah. So on that note, hopefully, if you did have something in mind from last week's episode, and you are contemplating, is your scenario something that you are contemplating continuing or giving up? Hopefully, we've given you a few ideas there to reach the outcome that feels right for you. And if that's the case, we'd be delighted to hear from you. And if you'd like further support, equally, that's exactly what we're here for. And all of our contact details are in the show notes.
Yes, and
Well, I think
these
that's it for this
questions
week.
could work. These questions could work very well in a coaching session if you wanted to do them in a more
Absolutely.
supported environment.
Absolutely. So, on that note, I think that's it for this week. And we'll see you soon for another episode. Take care. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Mission Imperfect. We'd love to hear your thoughts on any of our episodes, especially if you've had a light bulb moment in answering one of the questions, have benefited from one of the tips, or have a suggestion for an episode topic.
And if these conversations have made you curious about how coaching could help you, please don't hesitate to get in touch with one or both of us to find out more about what we offer. Until next time, keep being imperfectly you. No one does it better.